Why build one when you can have two at twice the price?
So I recently bought his and hers watches, one for me and one for my wife. One purchase, one deal, two watches. And in this case, his and hers Cartier watches. And as the saying goes, why buy one when you can have two at twice the price? But this isn't a story of extravagance, more one of collecting karma, where sharing the experience and the precious watch fund with a loved one can yield twice the pleasure without the need to explain yourself. Yes, this is a story of watch shopping with my dear wife and how this act of generosity should get me off the hook for a while. Or will it? In this video, I'll tell you why we bought Cartier and the models we chose, what discount we achieved, and more importantly, do we like what we bought and are they keepers? I'm Andy and welcome to the English Watch. Now this channel is about me and my watch collecting journey, an amateur enthusiast with an eye for detail, helping like-minded individuals like you start your watch collecting journey. Now, I don't profess to be an expert and have little to no inside knowledge, just an average guy trying to get through life, enjoying watches and meeting interesting people. Now what I want to do here is look at the buying experience and initial impressions of these two watches. Now I'll follow up with a full review with more time on the wrist. Although a week in, me and Mr. Santos, we're getting on nicely, so I have high hopes. Now this episode may be a little longer than usual, so I'll edit down as much as I can, without losing the essence. And as this channel is about me and my watch collecting journey, there's a story to tell that gets us to the watch on the wrist, so bear with me as, there's a happy ending. Now, we bought these two watches from Pragnall's in Stratford upon Avon, my first purchase from them, and I'm pleased to say, a very pleasant experience. I had accumulated a nice little fund over the last 6 months. I must have been working hard. And planned to spend a lot on me. I mean, why not? Now, in fact, the watch I really wanted to pull the trigger on, and very nearly did, was the JLC Polaris Green Dial. But in the end, and you'll have to see from the upcoming mood board review, it was just not the right time for that watch. Now, I had been looking at simple time and date only watches and smaller watches after all. Now, the last watch I bought my other half was the Tudor Black Bay 36 Blue Dial back in 2019. Now, before the Tudor, it was a Gucci dress watch back at the turn of the millennium. And that was for a previous his and hers, although I had an Amiga at the time. Now, you can't argue with that level of generosity. Over the years, my indulgences have been pretty much tolerated and the spending unchecked from, the finance minister. But with recent exposure to the Red Bar and some pretty nice experiences we've had at some of the boutiques, my good lady has been dropping more than a few hints recently, especially around Cartier, to the point where she initiated a trip into Birmingham to do a go-look-see. And, who was I to say no? So Goldsmiths in Birmingham have just had a refit and now a very nice Cartier area with a full range of pieces to try on alongside a quite nicely appointed Tudor display. Now, we tried a full range of square and round watches, but it was the Ballon Bleu that she had in mind and quickly warmed to that 33mm Princess Kate model. Now, she was drawn to the quirky aspect of the bent dial and the Roman numerals around that sort of sunken crown, but didn't fancy any more of the industrial looking square watches or anything as dainty as the tank. Now, given the his and hers aspect of the plan, I tried on a range of Santos models. This his and hers Cartier or Amiga was kind of what I had in mind, and from a Cartier perspective, it had to be the Santos. Come on. Now, I looked at the large size initially and I've tried it on a few times as it should be the right size, but for my sort of average size wrist, kind of looked like a TV on the wrist. However, they had all the little colourways with the now discontinued white dial, as well as the blue and the green from last year's novelties, all in 35mm, that I did try with an initial amount of enthusiasm, but there was more work to be done in my view. Initial impressions, great design features, comfortable and ultra thin. I was just hung up on the fact that it didn't have a date. So we thanked the sales team and walked out through the newly refurbished Rolex area, which I have to say is a bit rubbish. A little bit austere, and compared to the brightness of the rest of the store, it's a bit crap really. So that brings us on to the following weekend and a trip to Stratford upon Avon. Just for a walkabout. It was a nice day. And we ended up at the Pragnell store, one of Stratford's main attractions, in my view. Once you get past all that Shakespeare stuff. And a wonderful long shop front full of exquisite timepieces from Patek Philippe, Rolex, other brands. So we dropped into the main store and had a conversation around the availability of Rolex, but also took the opportunity to try a few other pieces on. I particularly liked this Breitling Premier in black. Had something about it with the sort of more than just the 80s patent leather vibe. Want to go back to at some point maybe. And coming out of Christmas and ahead of the new sort of release window in sort of March, April, they didn't really have a great deal of stock. So after a delicious cup of tea, we parted company. So I know what you're asking. Where the hell did he buy these watches then? Well, fate took us across the road and the shop window of number 43 by Pragnell. This is the new location of all their pre-owned watches that have been sort of moved out from the boutiques. And having pored over a number of mostly Richemont and Swatch Group watches in the window, at pretty keen prices, we decided to go in. And after a little walking around, we quickly found ourselves sipping sparkling water and talking to Andrew, one of the sales executives, who we'd just seen across the road in the main store. And this had sort of kind of put us at ease, as we kind of knew we were about to receive sort of similar levels of attention that we'd had across the road. I guess we spent what must have felt like hours looking at various pieces. I mean, you can check out the website for the Pragnell pre-owned watches. Most of the pieces we tried on were ex-display or had been on the photo shoot, just on a model's wrist, or just returned as unwanted gifts. So mostly quite new and in excellent condition. So no filming this time, we were there to buy. This wasn't a trip for content. Now I did try on a range of pieces from a Breguet Marine in titanium, watch I'd have never really picked out, but was deliciously wearable. Although I didn't like the loom-filled Roman numerals, to various IWC, JLC models. In fact, I was kind of stuck between a JLC Polaris black dial, sort of 41mm on the bracelet, and the eventual winner, the sort of Cartier Santos, which we tried earlier, the previous week. Now, there is a Polaris out there that will be in my collection soon. And I hear this year's releases may have something along those lines. Let's see. But it was the sun grey radiant blue dial of the Santos that eventually pulled me away from the quite plain looking black Polaris dial. But oh so close, and neither had a date. For my wife, well, she made her mind up, a week ago. And luckily they had a 33mm in stock. So after everything, what made us just do it on the day, over all the other things, all the other tyre kicking and the sort of flip-flopping? Well, I'll put it down to a few factors. I've been in decision paralysis for a while now. Not a bad place to be, and it has allowed the budget to grow a little, but we were on a his and hers mission, and we both knew this was not something that she was going to want to entertain over successive weekends until I was settled. So my wife knew what she wanted. I just needed to get off the pot. Where's the problem? Now, the prices, they were really tempting. In fact, too tempting to pass on. Not only was there a massive saving on essentially new watches, but also Pragnell had a sale on with an additional sort of 10% on top. So, what did we pay? The Cartier Ballon Bleu retails at £5,900. Well, it does at the moment. I'm sure Cartier will put their prices up. And that's for the 33mm in silver, and the Santos at £6,750 in 35mm with the blue dial. And that comes with the accessory leather strap and the deploying clasp. Now, the sticker price, less 10%, 9,500-ish. But yeah, we eventually shook hands on 9,250 for both. I did say, do it for 9, and he's like, no, still need to make a margin. So we called it quits at 9,250. You got to ask, haven't you? Now, on the sales invoice, the Santos was priced at 4,455 and the Ballon Bleu at 4,795. I suspect margins were adjusted a little, sort of pushing the value of the Ballon Bleu, but I was pretty happy nonetheless, and we were able to sort of register both watches to get the full 8-year warranty, which can't argue with that. Now, my blue Santos was dated December 2023, so only a few months old, with some of the stickers still in place, including on the bracelet. And we enjoyed a nice glass of champagne and left pretty pleased with ourselves. Mission accomplished. But are they keepers? Well, for my wife, absolutely. I mean, she's coveted this watch for some time, and that royal link isn't lost, especially when paired with that perfect princess. But more importantly, because I bought it for her. I mean, blokes like you and me, we think differently when it comes to stuff. This is more than just an object, more an expression of themselves. A piece to be cherished forever, especially when bought by a loved one. And for me, well, I do actually quite like it. A lot. And it's the first watch I bought without really knowing the specs. Now, I'll save that for the full review. It isn't the holy grail for me, but it does sit nicely in the overall collection, where I now have 3 blue dial watches, but all have their own character, not just a collection of, same brand, all different colours. And that leads me on to a video I have in the making. Yes, there are others to come. I'm currently sort of compiling my watch collecting journey thus far into a bit of a montage that will form the basis of my new mood board. I'll give you an idea of where I've come from, where I think I'm going. So stay tuned. I mean, this is an ever-changing thing, isn't it? As it should be. We shouldn't be fixed. Now, subscribing obviously ensures you won't miss any new content. And don't forget, I only post a couple of episodes a month, at best, currently. So why would you? Please check out the links to the website and any of the other affiliate sites. And you never know, one day I'll make a commission on one of those links and be able to do a video on how much I make through YouTube. We can but dream. Until then, I've got to stick with a day job. Anyway, I'm Andy. This has been The English Watch. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.